Hi, fourth grade. So today we're going to read Antarctic Journal. 4 months at the bottom of the world. A journal is a record of thoughts and events that are important to the writer. Think about what is important to Jennifer Owings Dewey as you read entries from the journal she kept in Antarctica. So it's just like a journal that you write in the morning, only it's going to be a travel journal. What would you expect to see and do at the bottom of the world? So they call it the bottom of the world because Antarctica is in the southernmost part of the globe. November 12th. Depart home in the early morning to be gone 4 months to Antarctica, a part of the planet as remote as the moon in its own way. The woman sitting next to me on the shuttle is headed for San Antonio, Texas. She has more luggage than I do. 4 million years, Antarctica, for millions of years, Antarctica, the 5th largest continent, has been in the grip of an ice age. It is the windiest, coldest, most forbidding region on Earth, and I am heading straight for it. Goodbye, America, I whisper, as the airplane heaves off the ground with a shuddering roar. See you later. There's a good map of Antarctica. November 17th. We flew from Miami to Santiago, Chile. Early the next morning, we boarded a plane for Punta Arenas, a town at the southern tip of Chile. We landed and were driven to a hangar-like building where we received our Antarctic clothing issue on loan for the length of our stay, to be returned when we headed back. So they received clothes for wearing in Antarctica, and then they're just going to give it back. Our next stop was the pier where the Polar Duke, our ship, was tied up. I was shown my cabin, a space so tiny I wish I were an elf. A desk and chair are bolted to the floor. The bedding is a well-padded sleeping bag. So why do you think the desk and the chair is bolted to the floor? We're off this morning. Clear skies, cool breeze, and no chop. The ship heaves and rolls like the smallish, sturdy, seaworthy vessel it is. I make a nest in one of the boats tied on deck, a cozy spot to spend hours drawing or just looking. I resist going below to sleep or eat. There's too much to take in. Rolling seas, salt spray, broad-winged seabirds soaring inches above the wave tops. The sun never sets. It lowers and rolls lazily along the northern horizon before rising again. I shiver with anticipation when we leave the calm waters of the Beagle Channel and enter Drake's Pass. I wonder why it's called Drake's Pass. Maybe one of Sir Francis Drake's boats ended up there. I think that's what happened. Two days pass, and we cross the Antarctic convergence. Along this invisible line, warm northern water meets cold southern water. The layering of warm and cold and the upwelling that results creates ideal conditions for an abundance of life in the seas. So convergence means coming together. So the warm water and the cold water are coming together, and that's where you can get a lot of wildlife, basically. From the convergence on, we are in Antarctica. A day later, the ship's motor stops humming. From the bridge, I look out over the bow. A group of whales breaks the surface of the sea, spy-hopping, heads pointing straight up out of the water. They slap their flukes and roll playfully "Humpbacks," one of the crew says. "Whales have the right of way in these waters. We stop when we see them, turn the engines off, and let them pass before we start up again." It's good to know that an ocean exists where whales have the right of way over ships. Okay. November 18th, Palmer Station. So Palmer Station is a real place that you can go to. Mainly scientists live there, tourists can visit. Dear T, Palmer Station is a group of insulated metal buildings housing 50 people comfortably. The station was built on Anvar's Island. You don't know you're on an island because permanent ice fills the gap between Anvar's and the mainland. We learned the rules the first night. No travel alone except to climb the glacier behind Palmer. Flagging with poles to show the safest way up. We sign out when we leave, giving a departure hour and an estimated time of return. We are given walkie-talkies and check with base every hour. If we're half an hour off schedule, someone comes looking, unless a storm blows in. If it's too dangerous for anyone to come after us, we are expected to wait out the bad weather. The sunscreen they pass out is the only kind strong enough. We are ordered never to forget to use it. Tomorrow we learn about the Zodiacs, small rubber boats with outboard motors. I'm excited about what comes next. And sleepy. Much love, Mom. Okay, so they need to wear the sunscreen because near the poles, the sun is very strong, so you have to wear really strong sunscreen. And they also have rules so that they don't get lost in the harsh conditions. And let's see, what's else? November 27th, Lynchfield Island. In fair weather, I go to Lynchfield Island and spend the day, sometimes the night. Lynchfield is 3 miles from Palmer by Zodiac, a protected island visited by 2 or 3 people a year. Before going to Lynchfield, I'm shown how to walk on open ground in Antarctica. An inch of moss takes 100 years to grow. The careless scuff of a boot heel could rip out 200 years of growth in seconds. I pack my food and extra clothes in a waterproof sea bag. A day pack holds pencils, pens, and paper for drawing and writing. There is no fresh water on the island. I carry 2 one-gallon canteens. Each island has an emergency cache of food and supplies marked with a flag, available if a person gets stranded during the storm. Alone, after being dropped on the island, I hear birds call, the whine of the wind, the waving, pounding gravel shores, and no human sounds except my breathing. Twilight falls, and I crawl into my tent, alert and unable to sleep for a long time, listening to the sounds of the Antarctic night. Okay, so down here is the room. Okay. This is what she wears. Notice they wear red, so you can see them really well in the snow. Can't see the boat, but the Zodiac is the boat that they go on. And then there's a little flag there where they put the emergency, they call it a cache, but it's the emergency supplies in case someone gets stuck out in the open and they need food. Next page. December 15th, visiting Old Palmer. Dear B, I'm in a tiny office behind the kitchen. Supper is over. I came to find quiet time and write to you. It's strange to write at night by the light of the sun. Today I went with a penguin scientist to Old Palmer, 20 minutes by Zodiac from New Palmer. Not used for years, the base is empty of life except for a small colony of Gen 2 penguins. A few of the birds have built stone nests on top of abandoned oil drums and other debris left behind. The chicks have orange spots on their bills and are identical to the parents, only smaller. They sit half squashed under a parent's white belly. Black-billed faces poke out, eyes blinking. On a sunny day, 32 degrees, dangerously hot for the chicks. I've seen some keel over dead on days like this, their blubber-rich bodies unable to tolerate temperatures above freezing. A parent penguin suffering heat stroke will not abandon a nest. It will fall dead in a heap. We had a scary encounter on the way back from Old Palmer. A pair of orcas was in Arthur Harbor. They swam near the surface, sleek backs glistening. These enormous predators sometimes take bites out of boats, mistaking a zodiac for a seal or a penguin. We slowed the engine and held back. A small group of Adelies was porpoising in the water. In a quick stroke, an orca grabbed a penguin in its huge mouth and whirled the helpless bird in the air. Teeth gripped the penguin flesh. Penguin wings flailed. The skin of the penguin flew away and landed with a plop in the sea. The bird was stripped of its hide as easily as we remove a sweater. The second orca took a penguin before the pair surged out of the harbor, leaving a swirling wake behind. We sped back to Palmer, aware that what we'd seen was a reminder that we are in a wilderness where a delicate balance exists between predator and prey. I'm tired, although I have the big eye. This is when we can't sleep because it's never dark. We get silly and wide-eyed, peculiar in our behavior, until a friend says, "Time for bed," and sees that we get there. Love and hugs, Jay. Have you ever had the big eye? So it seems like people get it in places where the sun doesn't go down, like in the summer, because it's harder to sleep. You may have had that before. Talk to you soon.